Show me the way to live my life again. You can't handle me. Woo! Hello. Oh. So, do you know what? I don't understand actually why I'm so happy, because this is not actually a good topic. But what do you want me to do? Cry? Do you want me to cry? I'm sorry, being stupid. Hi, this is such an odd. I have recorded a video like this, right? But it was more of a story time, and I did it actually a couple of years ago, but I never released it. I still think that it's in my videos, to be honest. But I'm going to mention it again, and I'm going to talk about what's led me to talk about this. So, a few days ago, I was on house party, yeah. This man come on. And he was just talking, and every time he was talking, he was emphasizing how much of a real African he is. He was asking me for advice. And then he just, every single time, like, example, he'll be like, so yeah, I've seen your Instagram. So obviously you cannot go back to Nigeria. You can't ever go to Nigeria. You can't. I was like, why? He goes, your Instagram like that. There's no way you can go to Nigeria. There's no way you can go to Nigeria. I was like, yes, I can if I want to. I just don't feel like I need to anytime. Like, I don't need to go. There's nothing in me that needs to go. He was like, well, you can't go anyway, like me, because I'm a real Nigerian. I was like, okay. Goes, oh, and if you go, like, they would probably just take the piss out of you because you don't sound African. You don't sound African at all. Like, you just sound like a foreign person. I was like, okay. Then he was like, what's it like being out? And I said, I mean, I don't even know how to answer that question now, because it's like, I don't know how to answer that question, because honestly, I can't really, it's like my mind has been blocked from thinking about anything besides not, because I didn't come out, I've always been like this. The only additional thing is the fact that now I'm just a bit more open about it. But I've always been this way. Like, I never came out and started acting a different way. I have always been like this. So when people ask me that, I'm like, no. I just lived. I never found it a need to come out. But I just don't think it's for everyone. I think sometimes it is, and sometimes I feel like you just don't need to speak about things that I don't need to emphasize on something that I feel like you already know. Especially when you grow up in an African household, like, then most likely know. Sometimes it's just an unspoken truth. Sometimes you just don't put it in their face. You know, live your life. They know. They don't want to hear about it. It's cool. So plenty of stuff about my parents I would love to not hear. So I understand, but everyone knows it is what it is. I would definitely talk about coming out and the needs for it, if there's a purpose for it and all this stuff a bit more. I'll probably do that tomorrow, actually. It's actually a good topic. But we was talking about that, and I said, for you, how is your journey? And he was like, he finds it, he's in a difficult space because he's achieved he's a very high achiever, got his masters, and he said the pressure of everyone always asking him when he's going to get married and then when he's going to have kids had made him run away to Canada. And he says even in Canada, like, his sisters he's got family around America and stuff, and they keep asking for his address to visit him, and he says he avoids them. And it's just hard because if he doesn't want to be the person to disappoint his family. And I totally understand it, you know. But as like, you're already a grown man, you've already ran all the way to Canada. You said people have asked you before if have asked, being like basically insinuating if he's gay or not, and you ran all the way to Canada. I mean, you actually don't have much to lose in coming out anyway. And he was just like, no, I can't lose my family. But you ran away from them. And you haven't been back to Nigeria since. And he goes, well, you know me, I'm a true African. So, like, you probably don't understand the repercussions of what's going on in Nigeria if you happen to be gay. And I was like, do you think that I'm a caveman living under a rock? Like, what do you mean? I don't know what would go. I'm sure you don't have to even be African to know that. People know the repercussions, most likely. Jesus Christ, they're everywhere. Even if I wasn't African, I don't understand how you can be. I'm a real African, so you don't know. I don't understand how you fathom you are so much more knowledgeable about a subject than I am, and you can't just think that we could be equal. Of course, he's gonna have a totally different experience growing up in Nigeria, being born in Nigeria. You're gonna go to school. Everything will be different to me growing up here. Absolutely. But I don't know why that should diminish who I am just because you think that you're an authentic African because you happen to grow up in Nigeria. So that makes me a fake African. Because that to me is horrendous. Especially the fact that I grew up in a Nigerian household. Like, I didn't even discover... I knew I was Bayesian, but I never discovered that side of me properly. And honestly, until I started going clubbing, gay clubbing, then I started to be introduced to the Caribbean side of me, actually. I started to be introduced to soca. Tania kind of done that. It's soca. When I just started going, well, she introduced me to soca, but I never really embraced my Caribbean side. I think everyone, when I was younger, would tell you that, to be honest. It was only when I came out to myself and I started going clubbing, bashment was my thing, dancehall was my thing, soca was my thing. I would be listening to calypso, like, I just got this whole world, and I was able to embrace all of that with just being who I am, rather than knowing of these genres, listening, but not really being connected. But that was the way that I connected to my Caribbean side. Or we did have rice and peas on an odd occasion. I saw my nan nearly every weekend. I went to church. So it's just, I just wasn't involved in the culture. It's so weird. It's like everything in my life was very much Nigerian. So it's just, I've just grown up as an African boy in London, and it's horrible when I find people that do that to me, and just because I happen to be born here, and I might not know, I don't know how to speak Yoruba 100%, it's like, you're a fake African. And it's a horrible thing to say, because that's all I know, you know. I might not know how to speak my dialect. Is that my fault? It's not my fault. I actually had to learn through films and through people around me, because my dad never liked me speaking it, because he used to cheat a lot on my mum. And when he used to talk to my dad, to my uncles and everyone about it, always used to be in Yoruba. So it's like a way of him coding what he was saying without me indulging in what he's saying. So, but it didn't work anyway, because I always knew what he was saying, because he would take me to the people he was cheating with. So that's just his thing. That has nothing to do with me, but it's a bit horrible that people think like that. And he said he just kept doing it, and then his friend come into the group, and he was like, this is my friend from London. He's from Nigeria, but he's far from an African. He's not African. He's like a fake African. That just sent me off. I was just like, oh no, I've had enough of this now. He goes, because he know what his reason was. He goes, he's a fake African because he hasn't been to Nigeria in a while. All the more reason, all the same person that's run away from Nigeria to be in Canada because he can't come out to his parents, and he hasn't been back since. So how the hell do you, I don't understand where you think you have authority to talk about anything. Terrible. And even when I told him when he was asking me about my coming out story, and I was telling him how my dad reacted, he was like, oh yeah, he only reacted like that because, you know, like, you can't give me you can't talk, it's so annoying. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story, a mini story that happened as well with me when I was younger. When I was younger, I used to work for this factory. It was like an outdoor factory. It was like a recycling place. And I was the only British born, it was only men. I was the only British born African in that place. Everyone else was either Nigerian, mixed. The African men were mixed between Ghanaian and Nigerian. But none of them were born here. And then all the others, every single one was Polish. And I was the only British born one. And then I was the only one out of all of us that drove. Besides the boss and the receptionist and the administrator. Everyone in the office drove. And I was the only one in the factory. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I had like one old Ford Fiesta that I bought for £450. Like, it wasn't even a big deal. Then, first it started with sly remarks. The whole fake African thing again. There was talk. They would start saying stuff. It was so funny because it actually was nothing to do with homophobia. It was nothing to do with homophobia. But it was everything. It was everything else. Like, it was just bizarre, you know, because I could not relate to the Eastern Europeans. I could not relate to those Polish men because they were not even like, I've worked with a lot of Eastern Europeans in my life. Every place I've worked in. But these ones, they were the proper men that only stick to their own. You know, like, they hardly know English and they're not looking to, they don't want to make new friends. They just want it. They're very hard working though. They focus on their work, but they don't care for you. You know, so it is what it was. Everyone knew what it was. No one mingled like that anyway. No one mingled. But then African men, there'll be a few that I'll talk to, whatever, and it'll be cool. We'd work, we'd go home. And it was a very stressful job as well. So, like, when we would be there, everyone would be joking and stuff. And one way or another, there will be one joke about me being British born. And I'm thinking with these people, like, it's so crazy how you want to ostracize me, right, for being a fake African, but the red book that I have, you would kill for. So it would used to irritate me because if I was to open my mouth and give it to them, they will know very much that I know a bit too much and they wouldn't like it. But you know, me, then I didn't really like chaos. I don't really like confrontation or that, and especially when I'm around all these men that I'm not friends with any of them. I just kept it in and I would shut up. And they would ask for lifts home. I would give them lifts. My car used to be packed. I used to drop every single one home. Like 5 people would stuff themselves into my little Ford Fiesta. And I would drop every single one home nearly every night. Then little things started happening. First, my wing mirror got knocked off. I was like, okay, maybe that's just an accident. Then the next night, my tires got slashed, and I drove all the way to Asda. If you guys are American, Walmart, and I didn't even know my tire was slashed. I was so in the zone. For lunch, I just went to Asda and I was singing, I was dancing, and then it was this Somalian man. He goes, "Your tire." I was like, "My what?" And he was so nice. He came and actually changed it for me. And I was like, "Oh my God." He goes, "You need to be careful." I was like, "Who did this?" I was like, "I don't know." He says, "Someone done this on purpose." And I was like, "Oh wow." Drove back to work, didn't think anything of it. The next day, it happened again. Then the following day is when, for me, it was enough working in that place. And they stuffed weave in my exhaust. And I remember when I drove home, the car was like really, it was not giving power at all. And I was like, what is the matter? And I was like, fucking hell, it's what you get for driving 455. You know me. How I rant here is actually how I rant to myself. So I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, oh, this is all I need. It's going on and on and on. And then when I got home, I went in. It was like my lunch. I went in, got food, come back to the car. And then the neighbours ran out. And they were like, don't, stop. They ran out. I was in the car, like, what happened? And they're like, stop, they're sinking your exhaust, I looked at my exhaust and he pulled out this long weave, stuffed all the way inside, pulled it out. And he was like, you know, this car could have blown up if you would have drove wherever you're going to right now. And I was like, wow. So this topic about me being a fake African is really, 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 I can play it off now because I'm just at a different place in my life. I know myself, but it's really affected me actually, you know. So that could have been my life. For what? Like, it wouldn't have even made any sense. For what? When I found that out, I was just in shock. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was vexed when I went back to that place. That I was mad. Oh God, I was so angry. It was midnight. Everything stopped because I worked in Thames View. Oh my God, if you guys know Barking, know Thames View, you know that of a certain time of the night, if it's 1 o'clock at night, there is nothing. There's no way. I mean, now you can get 24-hour buses, but some of these people lived far. It's far when you're in a certain part of London and Essex to maneuver yourself around without a cab, to be honest. I got in that car and I went straight home. I didn't care about anybody and I ended up leaving that job for my own peace of mind. So I just want this to be a lesson to anyone to, like, don't allow anyone to put titles on who you are, how you identify yourself, because at the end of the day, I know myself. I know the household I was brought up in. I'm aware. I'm very woke. And I'm not going to allow anyone to make me feel less than or inferior because they don't serve no purpose. Do I know any of those people now? No. Do I know this boy from days ago? No. Do I care to? No. Does he follow me? Yes. Did he like my pictures? Every single one. So it's just like, it's whatever. It's horrible, you know, how people don't understand the extent. It's just like when I did that video, when this person in America told me I'm not a real a black person because I'm British black. And I was like, what's that meant to mean? He goes, well, us African Americans, we have had slavery, we've got history, you haven't really got anything. And I'm like, you're the same people that don't even know your heritage and you still claim that you're African American. Oh my God, please. I can't even deal. I can't. So much stupid, ignorant people in this world, you know. Very stupid, very ignorant. And saying that, I've actually had it twice. I've had it twice. I've had it with him, and I had it on another person this week as well. He was really pissing me off. Him, I told off. This one, I just stopped. I just come off and I just stopped talking. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's irritating though. They ask me questions. I answer the questions. You talk to me in Yoruba. I understand what you're saying. I just can't speak it. Like, I'm not really good. I can speak when I'm annoyed and when I'm angry, but it's not my fault that I never got taught it, because really and truly, it should have been something I should have been brought up with. But you have to remember, my mum's from Barbados, so I can understand in the same aspect, but I do resent my dad a tiny bit for not. But I don't know if I resent him for the right reasons, because I think it's still embedded in me when people made me feel like that. That's why. But it was not even an issue really in my household. It was never an issue in my upbringing or nothing. It's only when I'm interacting with people that people suddenly... And these are grown men, like really much older than myself, you know, that would just be saying stuff like that. And I just don't understand it, to be honest. I don't understand it. I'm a fake African. Yesterday on my video, someone told me that I was homophobic to yell and bisexual men. Oh! I saw that. I was like, wow. Really? Imagine. So people will say whatever they want, to be honest. You just can't really care about it. But it was something that was on my mind. It was on my mind when he was saying that. I was like, wow. Wow. It's really something, boy. But yeah, I just wanted to let that out, you know. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I love you all. Continue to stay safe. Just stay safe, please. And if you're indoors, please stay in isolation as hard as it is. And just remember to always appreciate and exercise gratitude at a time like this. If you want to see the light and you want to prosper in your life, especially in this crisis, you have to exercise gratitude. You have to acknowledge appreciation. Because if you don't do those two, you're just gonna, you're not gonna really get anything that you really are deserving to get. Honestly, that's the biggest lessons that I'm learning lately, you know, is appreciation and gratitude. Those two, whoo, honey. I've been talking about, I want to go away. Go where? Do you know how much places I haven't even been to in my own England? I have not even been hardly anywhere here that I'm talking about flying here, flying there, flying there. I haven't been anywhere. So when this is over, I'm going to get experience in England in general. Yes. I don't know. See, I'm doing it again. I'm diverting. This could be a whole other video right now. Bye. See you tomorrow.